Welcome back to the channel. I've missed you. We're trying something new here. We're watching Teen Mom. All right, so I have not watched Teen Mom for the last 15 years. I watched it, I was in, grad school when the first season came out with Farrah Abraham and that crew, and I've not watched it since. But a lot of people have said, hey, you got to check this show out. So we're checking it out. This is Teen Mom, the next chapter. So we're reviewing the next chapter, I guess, and I'm just going to watch the most recent episode. If you like this reaction, if you want me to react to more of these this whole season, hit the like button or leave a comment below. If you're new here, I'm David Colarossi. I'm a licensed psychologist, and for fun in the evenings, I react to events in pop culture like Teen Mom. And my goal is to use these events to talk about concepts in psychology. So let's get into it.
There was some issues with the kids picking on Chloe, so me and Sean thought it'd be a good idea to just do homeschool. You know, I do homeschooling with her, but she wants to go back to school.
You know, Chloe's probably like, I'm sick of being around you guys.
I'm sick of y'all.
So I just watched the clip where they were saying that her daughter was being picked on in school, and so they brought her, they homeschooled her, which when I first heard that, my initial reaction was, okay, I guess that sounds, whatever, that sounds protective or reasonable, but I didn't clock that the daughter was only in kindergarten. And my honest reaction is I think it's a problem. I would argue again, I don't have much context, but I would argue against the idea that you should take your kid out of school if they're being bullied at such a young age, because my assumption is that at such a young age, the bullying isn't that severe. And I think that if a parent swoops in to solve the problem immediately, what you're kind of telling the daughter is, hey, you can't handle your own problems, you can't navigate the sort of social environment at school, and you need to be saved. I think it would be better for the daughter to spend more time at school and work out the relationships with those other kids. Like, that's part of how kids figure themselves out. That's part of how kids learn how to navigate interpersonal friction and distress and anxiety, is by being forced to do it. And it feels a little bit like the daughter experienced some minor distress and the parents jumped in. And it's interesting to me that they jumped in and the daughter is now like pretty quickly saying, actually, can I go back to school where I can play with other kids? Wait, are Catelynn and Tyler still together? In the original 16 and Pregnant, they were the only couple that put their daughter up for adoption. And it was, like, I remember even then, like, thinking what an incredibly sort of rational, incredibly sober, well-grounded decision that they had made. And they seemed like they had such a healthy relationship. I did not realize that they were still together. I think that's cool.
Ada's 5 now, and she's still not speaking that clearly, and she's definitely uncomfortable in loud environments. They want to get her an IEP, but it's definitely got me a little stressed.
So I actually do have an opinion. I have to be careful how I say this. I know nothing about her daughter, but I can speak sort of generally about the idea of an individual education program. The idea of it, I think, like in theory, it sounds fantastic. The challenge for me is that you risk the kid being stigmatized by this special program that they're in. The kid becomes aware that they have special treatment or a special teacher or a special protocol. And I think the risk is that you have a teacher, you have teachers in schools. I think this is especially true, by the way, with like young boys. You have teachers in schools who are motivated to have an easy class. And so when you have a kid or several kids in your class, if you're a teacher, and they are not listening or they're behind or they're creating a distraction, it's easy to sort of go, you need to be bucketed somewhere else, and I'm going to let a specialist take care of you, and you need to be separated. And part of me worries that what they're doing is not so much what's best for that individual kid, but rather what is best for their classroom. And I don't blame them. That's their job, is to run the classroom. But I worry, does that really mean that that kid needs a different kind of care? Does that kid really need to be stigmatized? And so I would just be cautious around having them take on some kind of individual education program, having different treatment unless there's a significant issue. So my recommendation would always be to get them tested outside of the school, because the people in the schools whose job it is to set up those programs, they're looking for people who need those programs. And so I don't know how often they assess a child and don't land on, oh yeah, they got a thing and they need a thing and an extra program. And so I don't always know if the incentive structure is set up there for like truly being discerning about who needs what kind of support.
When you guys do this and she gets like a certain score, does that help you know if she's a little like neurodivergent or anything?
I think you're kind of feeling out for like autism.
Yeah.
It does not give me a score for any of that.
Okay. So there's no one specific test that you can give a child to know for sure whether or not they have autism or they're on the spectrum. What you do is you have an expert, usually a psychologist or a mental health professional that interacts with the child and observes how they play, how they communicate. Do they respond to their name? Are they engaging in repetitive behaviors? Those kinds of things. But you really need a specialist really to watch and observe. There are like little checklists that a parent can kind of self-report what they see, or as the kid gets older, there are self-report checklists, but none of those are definitive. What you really need is a professional to sit down and really observe.
I guess back in the day, she was addicted to heroin. She got on methadone. It's killing me on the inside.
You should try Al-Anon.
I think I need it.
I'm not totally clear what's going on. So her mom used to do heroin, and she's been on methadone for essentially her whole life. And she never knew that her mom was on. Am I tracking that right? That she never knew that her mom was on methadone. So it feels a little bit like her mom is an addict, but has dealt with it appropriately, and it hasn't, to her knowledge, impacted her upbringing or how she sees herself or how she sees her mom. Like to me, that feels like a win for the mom, a win for the methadone treatment. It's working. Like there are a lot of people that use methadone every day, and that's how they survive. So like my first reaction is I understand that it's a shock for her. I understand that it's distressing to think that your mom kind of has that side and you didn't know about it. But to me, eventually the healthier reaction will be for her to feel bad that her mom's been through that and sort of fighting through that for her whole entire life alone. Like the mom has been through hell, and it seems like has done a lot to protect the family from her disease. Again, I just one episode that I'm watching, but just from that clip, that's how I view it. I'm curious what people think about that, but yeah, let me know.
You're just upset because you know that she gets overwhelmed?
I just don't want it to affect her in the future.
Honey, she's only 5, okay? She literally just turned 5.
I don't even know what the results are, but this is exactly why I have a negative reaction to these kind of like IEP assessments and parent conferences. It's like you put all this pressure on it. You have a mom now who's freaked out, and I just don't know that it's always worth it. I like the fact that the schools are being vigilant. It's true that if you get support earlier on, it's better for the kid. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they're casting too wide of a net, and all of a sudden everybody needs some kind of IEP. And I just don't think that's healthy for anybody. This is not healthy for this daughter to be in the car with her mom crying when the daughter knows that she was just assessed, right? Like that's not good.
We did find out that Veda struggles with like loud noises, wanting to move or fidget. For Veda, it comes out in like yelling, getting angry, or...
So I obviously haven't seen the assessment data, and I'm not going to sit here and try and diagnose a kid that I've never interacted with. But based on what Catelyn's describing, it seems like she's talking about a sensory processing disorder. The symptoms of which, by the way, are very common in kids. I shouldn't say very common. They're relatively common in kids and even in some adults. All it means is that one or more of their senses are over or under responsive. And that could be touch, it could be taste, it could be smell, any of the senses. So for example, you may have a kid that hears a loud sound and becomes super reactive and has to run from the room. And you have other kids where they hear a loud sound and they seem to not react to it at all. Like everything in kids, it's on a spectrum. Not everything, but like most things with kids, it's on a spectrum. And you only diagnose a sensory processing disorder if it's clinically significant. Like, is it preventing a kid from interacting in school? Is it preventing them from learning? Then they might need treatment. But if it's just kind of a characteristic, it's just sort of how they interact, and it's not preventing them from navigating school appropriately, then I don't think it would get diagnosed or directly treated. So again, not talking about this specific kid, I'm just sort of educating about what a sensory processing disorder is.
I got an email from mom's facility thing, and it's like a Zoom link for Al-Anon.
Oh, so mom's in treatment. So I missed that. So mom is so the mom's addicted to heroin, been in methadone, and she must have relapsed or something, and now she's in. I missed that part. All right. I take back what I said. Absolutely get into Al-Anon. 100%. I missed that. I thought that she just was upset because she found out that her mom had this past. But it's in a very real way affecting her. And look, she's already there cleaning out her mom's place, right? Like already having to support her mom the second her mom loses control. Right, so I definitely think that she needs support. Al-Anon is a great resource.
The addiction, that's not the problem for me. My problem with her is how she treats me.
If that was the reason why she treated you like that.
I think it's deeper than that.
Well,
it has to do with her trauma. I don't think it has anything to do with the...
I need to go back. I got to watch. This show is way better than I thought it was going to be. I got to go back and figure out what's going on with the mom. But for sure, just to point it out, for sure, the mom's history with trauma has influenced her mom's drug use. Like the idea that those things aren't connected is crazy to me. Of course they're connected.
What do you want out of this meeting?
I just want the creative ability to like come out with actual weed brand,
Can I just say I'm having some mild judgment around her strong desire to join the cannabis industry in Las Vegas. It feels a little bit like she likes smoking pot and wants to be involved in the industry because she likes smoking pot, which feels sort of half-cocked to me, versus her saying, hey, I understand the industry, I know kind of where I would fit in the industry, and this is why I think it would be lucrative. Like, then I would be more sort of on board. But it feels like she's just like, I like weed, so can I work in the weed industry? And it's not that easy. It's a complicated industry. You don't just jump in because you like smoking weed. But maybe it's more than that. I guess I'm not. Nothing from their conversation makes me think that these two people are sophisticated evaluators of the business they're trying to enter.
Hello?
Hi.
Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm right here.
We're in the back.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
See you in a second.
All right, bye.
The manager is also bothering me. Like, I don't understand. Why does she need a manager? Is she like a model or something? What is he managing? He seems way too concerned with just like being cool, and I just don't know. He's not demonstrating like a lot of business savvy, at least in these clips.
Thank you for always being my friend all these years.
I think I know you in a way that a lot of people don't know you, a way that I could appreciate you as a human being.
This is more like a friendship before a management.
August wants more than a friendship, is my guess.
Look at your little headphones. It's all yours. Isn't it nice?
Look at school. If
you
things
get
are too
overwhelmed.
loud.
I think they're good parents. This is like a perfect reaction and solution to this situation. Not freaking out, not making a big deal. This is good. That was good. That was better than I thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this reaction, if you want me to do more of these, hit the like button or leave a comment below. And if I get enough interest, I will watch the full season. All right.